All right. Well, I'll start with just introducing Joanne and I. So we will not be answering any questions, which is great to be on this side of it. I love it. But I'm Tom Curtin. This is my wife, Joanne. She and I have a real estate team in Roswell, Georgia, Roswell, Alpharetta area. So these markets that we are going to be talking about tonight, a lot of our clients already have homes in or they're considering homes in. So we're really excited to hear what y'all have to say. So,
Yeah, thank you for being here. We have a lot to cover, so I don't want to go too quickly through introductions, but I want to introduce Tracy Krohn from our North Georgia mountains. Tracy, you want to say hi?
Hi, glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'll just go upside down. So, and Tasha Corrigan, you're 30A in the Florida Panhandle. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. A privilege.
And Sheri Nixon, you're Hilton Head Island.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hilton Island and Bluffton, right?
Yes, Bluffton.
Yes, just that's the mainland of Hilton Head. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where our neighbors moved to. Okay. Okay. And Jennifer, are you Silver Chambers? I just say Jennifer.
You can just say Silvers for now, but most people know me as Chambers, so I can't lose it yet. But
I call you Jen. So Jen from Breckenridge, Vale, and
Yes.
Frisco, Colorado. Welcome.
Yes,
Thank you so
that's me.
much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, guys.
Yeah. So what we want to do is just go around. We'll start with you, Tracy, if that's all right, and just give us a snapshot of kind of a typical short-term rental. I guess, I know there's no average, but sort of that price point range, average price point that people would expect in your market.
Well, yeah, there's not really an average. It goes all over the map. It's according, if it's a water feature or a mountain view, that's going to add a lot. And a lot of the folks will be saying, I just want a certain cabin, but they want a view or a water feature, and that's not going to be in their price point. They'll be like, I want a 200 or $300,000 cabin, and that's more just a really small cabin in the woods versus if you're going to have a long range view or a short range view. So it's kind of all over the map there. But average sales market in Fannin County, North Georgia mountains, is around 600,000 for a cabin.
All right, 600, nice.
Yep.
Tasha?
Yeah, so I covered Destin, 30A, Panama City Beach. So, if someone's looking for, let's say, something with a view, for instance, let's take, we have a lot of condos. So, Destin, for instance, let's say we would be, if you want a Gulf view in Destin, you're looking at the 400,000 range. 30A, it's going to shoot up. We don't have a ton of condos on 30A, but the lowest priced one for a two-bedroom right now is 910. So it's going to go up from there. A two-bedroom in Panama City Beach is going to be roughly in the 300s, just depending on, the building and how new it is, et cetera.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Sheri, how about on Hilton Head?
So, we split ours into, and what other people call condos, we call villas. So you have your villas or you have your single family homes in the rental areas. And it is going to also depend on the proximity to the beach and the view. But I'd say you can get like a two-bedroom condo, probably minimum 230,000, and maybe going up to 3 million on a two bed. And then like a 4 to 5 bedroom home is it's gonna be hard to find really has a good rental under a million almost, but and going up to the highest sale recently was 7.3, and it was my listing, so that was exciting. So yeah.
Nice.
Wow, congratulations.
All right. How about yours, Jennifer?
So our market is really dependent, like the other ladies have said, on where the property is. For us, obviously, ski in, ski out. is going to be your higher price market. And then, Vale and Breckenridge, because I'm only going to focus on those two for now, they do have different price points. So if I'm going to say a general price point, I would say, to get into an entry level property, you're going to do a minimum of about 850 in Breckenridge and at least 1.5 to 2 million in Vale.
Okay.
And those are just entry levels.
Yeah. Jennifer, let's stay with you. So if somebody's budgeting a purchase of an, short-term rental in your market, are most of them being sold furnished, or,
yeah.
What things should they kind of factor in with like that initial?
So here's a couple things. Number one, most of our properties are sold furnished.
Mm-hmm.
So, and depending upon the property, you may not need to replace anything. The other thing to consider is our HOA fees. Our HOA fees can be quite high depending upon the complex, depending upon the amenities and what it covers. Now, the nice thing about our property, our HOAs here, is it often covers heat and, so color, electric, and gas and all those basics, because our heating bills can be quite high here. So that's nice. And then obviously the amenities, does it have a pool? Is it a hot tub? All that good stuff will influence that. Also, keeping in mind what insurance costs are. We are in a high fire danger area. And so, we have to be, vigilant about finding good insurance for our properties. And a lot of companies are no longer offering insurance to certain buildings and certain areas. So those are a few of the key things to consider.
Yeah. Sheri and Tasha, I know being on the ocean, right? Insurance is definitely a factor with you guys as well. So what are you guys finding with that?
So it is, again, the insurance and they're usually combined for the villas into the home. And so you do have to watch out for that as far as assessments and whatever. So that's been ever changing and going up. It hasn't been really made it cost prohibitive, but it does make it something you have to factor in. And so then too, ours are sold furnished as well, most all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and ours are definitely sold furnished. I would say probably 95% of the properties, whether single family home or condo. We have helped clients, of course, get rid of all of that lovely furniture that maybe somebody brought from their house, who knows where, that just doesn't look like the beach. So, but yes, and then there are also some beautiful homes that are completely turnkey that you would bring your toothbrush to and not change a thing. So, but definitely insurance has been an issue. That's definitely been a conversation going on here in Florida the past couple of years. You can definitely still get insurance, even Gulfront. I will say that going back to those condos, that has definitely caused the condo, the HOA fees to go up significantly. So it's just something that we have to be aware of whenever we're looking.
Are there issues with condos as far as financing goes? I mean, are there some buildings that you can't get a mortgage because of whatever's going on with the HOA insurance, that kind of thing?
Not necessarily from an insurance perspective. I would say that, you're going to have a lot of the condo buildings won't agree with the Fannie Mae guidelines.
Right.
So you're going to have to look for a little more creative financing, which we have good sources for that. So yeah.
Jennifer, I see you nodding your head. Are you running into that a lot with
Yeah, we get that. We have certain buildings that are considered condotels. So those just don't qualify for traditional mortgages. And like Tasha, we have resources for that. So
good.
It helps.
Good.
Yeah.
So Tracy, what about in your market? Everything being sold furnished, or what do you find there?
Yep. They're mostly it's turnkey. It's ready to go. Usually sometimes there'll be like the buyer will want to change it or update it, but most of the time it's ready to go. And as far as insurance goes, I tell people in the mountains to try to go with someone local. If somebody's buying from Florida in the mountains and they want to get a quote from their insurance company that's in Florida, it's going to be much higher because they don't really know how to quote a house in the mountains that they don't have a fire hydrant, so they're like, why is our insurance so high? But when they get a quote from someone local, then it's much more reasonable then.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah. Okay, so the big question everybody wants to know, I'll start with you, Tracy. Can you actually make money in your market on a short-term rental right now if you buy one right now?
Well, I would say yes.
Okay.
You can. It depends. I have ones that are producing really well, and it's been really a slow, as we all know, in the rental market. But yes, there's money to be made, but I think it's also, um, even if it's not right now, they're making money long term. Right now, they're people that are buying short-term rentals, they want to enjoy it themselves. So if it makes a little money, great. And if it doesn't, they're enjoying it. Their family's enjoying it. Business partners are using it. They're enjoying it instead of it just all being about cash flow. I feel like they're trying to use it a little bit more, that it's kind of down right now.
Yeah.
That the rental market's down basically. But yes, I definitely think you can still make money
Okay. All right.
rental.
All right. What do you say, Tasha?
Well, we're so neighborhood specific here on 30A. So, I would say if somebody's looking, say, in Rosemary Beach or Water Sound, Watercolor, those areas, 6%, 7% is, on your investment is pretty standard. There are those random little, gold nuggets that you can find that aren't going to bring in that 10% that everybody's really looking for. So, it's a little harder. We have to dig a little bit. You can find them, but there are a lot of factors that go into rentals too. So it's not just, yeah, I can sit here and say that the rental market is down overall, but there are a lot of different factors in that, such as, management companies and are you self-managing? Are you, using a rental company from Destin for your watercolor property? That's really not going to work out too well. So
Yeah.
Right point.
How about you, Sheri, on Hilton Head?
Well, I wish we could say I could find those nuggets because, we used to always want 10%, that gross to gross. And then I was okay with 5. And then it's just, I mean, it's hard. I have someone that has money to spend and he's like, I just don't want to lose money every month. And with the prices and the insurance and all of that, it's hard to find someone that you could guarantee they're not going to lose money just because with prices doubling, that's what's hard. So shoot, Tasha, we may have to go to Rosemary Beach.
In your market, are you telling your clients to budget for a loss, like a certain amount of loss?
So they are doing just what Tasha and Tracy, you said. We have people, especially like Atlanta area, that if they're going to use it and they can drive down here when it's not rented and use it and have their family use it. I mean, that's again where we are, where they're buying them because they love to come here. And then too, over the long term, they're going to make money. So a lot of them just love to hold it. They've been there for so many years coming to vacation. So then it's still for sure worth them buying. But if I just can't
Emotional.
guarantee that right off the bat, especially because you have to build up those rentals on a lot of them. So especially if you buy a fixer-upper or something. So yeah.
That's a great point. How long does it normally take if you're starting at zero without any reviews and it's brand new property?
Yeah.
How long do you normally see it take?
Takes at least a year, if y'all probably agree, a
Yes.
year
Yes.
to more to get it up there and have the guaranteed rentals.
Yeah. Jennifer, what are you seeing?
Yeah,
Budgeting for a
so
loss or
So yeah, so like the other lady said, I mean, our cost makes it prohibitive in terms of actually making money from short-term rentals.
Hmm.
When you include in all the taxes also that come, that have to be paid to the town and all of that, it's really a cost offset. Right.
Hmm.
So short-term rentals should be viewed as a cost offset, which is great. It is a place, like the other lady said, this is a memory making place. This is a family place. And the truth is, I always advise my clients on the appreciation of their property. So, traditionally in the last 30 years, we've had about 7% appreciation, which is pretty good. Obviously, the COVID years and some other years in there make it hard to, give a perfect number. However, if they're willing to hold on to the property for about 5 years, they're going to see appreciation that will
Yeah.
definitely, benefit them in the long run financially.
And
So,
then from a seasonality standpoint,
mhm.
what does your market look like? I mean, does it obviously ski season, what I would assume would be the peak, but the summer is
So
great
we
too,
actually
right?
have,
So how does it
yeah.
look
So
for you?
So summer, obviously ski season, the January, February, all those major vacations, Martin Luther King holiday, spring break, Christmas, Thanksgiving, those are, you have to short-term rent during those times if you want to make any money, right? So,
Hmm.
especially for my people who actually really need that money, I tell them don't plan on coming up here for those breaks.
Hmm.
Um, and then also our summers, like the month of July is a very popular month here. It's so
Hmm.
gorgeous. We have, our temperatures maybe hit 80 degrees. It's
Hmm.
dry. It's,
There's no
cool
mosquitoes.
mornings. It's 40,
There's
no
no mosquitoes.
mosquitoes. It's
No.
like it's like 40 degrees in the morning, so it's cool, and you have all the outdoor activities still, right? Like people love the mountains in the summer. So you
Yeah.
can make a lot of money in the summer as well. We do
Is there,
have what we call like, mud season and that kind of stuff, which is in between that,
okay.
you're not going to really have a lot of short-term rentals.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How about you, Tracy? What's it look like seasonality wise?
Well, honestly, in Blue Ridge, I feel like the main season would be in the fall. That's when
Mhm.
everybody comes up. But
Mm-hmm.
from the fall to through December, um, I mean, it's a madhouse in the mountains, really, but good. But it's still seasonal. You've got all the festivals in throughout the year that people come up to the mountains for. There's hiking, there's biking, there's just so many other things you can do. There's people that want to go chase the waterfalls and just come to the lake, obviously Lake Blue Ridge, just to enjoy the lake. So I think it's all year round, but the peak is definitely in the fall.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
With the leaves.
Oh yeah, everybody travels to get
It's right
apple,
up on it.
all that. Yes,
All right.
yeah.
Tasha, what about with you guys? Is there just a dead time or do you get snowbirds or what does that look like at the beach?
Oh, it's pretty quiet right now.
Yeah, January.
It's a great time to visit. Actually, it's been the 70s, so the past couple weeks. Yeah, so it's been nice. But yeah, our peak times, are going to be we have 4 weeks of spring break for sure. March
Hmm.
15th to April 15th, I always say people can count on. Memorial Day to, mid-August, most everybody's started back to school by then. And
Hmm.
then you're going to start getting into, long weekends. Then you have fall break now, which, has popped up the past couple of years. So we have about 3 weeks now of fall break you can count on. And then we'll go into like Thanksgiving's usually a busy week, and then in between Christmas and New Year's. So 22 to 24 weeks is what I tell clients that they can generally, count on.
Hmm. What is it similar for you, Sheri, or do you see any difference?
Yeah, so our summer is definitely the moneymaker. And so, because we're a real family oriented place, so they are out of school and they can come. So you really need to rent in the summer. So the perfect person, again, is Atlanta, Roswell, all of those, because if you you can, in the summer, a lot of those people have places, other places. Like you can go, if you own a place here, go to Jennifer in the summer and then
Mhm.
rent your place out here, and then come back and enjoy it all the rest of the season as an
Mhm.
owner and just coming down to really have a great time. But our holidays are good, but summer's where you're going to make the money. And I'd
Yeah.
say really, we only probably our rental companies only probably would say I'd guarantee maybe 20 weeks. So there's golfers and things like that that come, but if you just had to count on it, you're going to
Mhm.
count on the summer for sure, and then gravy all the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll throw this question out to everyone, but does anyone have a market where there's like a better time to buy? Like prices are better in the off season, or is there any effect like seasonality wise? Or
Yeah, I
I mean,
do.
we have,
Oh.
yeah, go ahead, Tosh.
Oh, I was just going to say, actually, you'll notice sellers getting more motivated after summertime. After
Mhm.
July, they have their July rentals. In August, you'll start to see them get more motivated. And then in December, I always tell people December and January are great months to buy because then they've really been without rental income for a good bit.
Mhm.
So, the majority of the rental income. So you can definitely, I think you can get a better deal because sellers definitely seem to be more negotiable right now.
Mhm.
Mm. This is perfect timing with our Zoom.
Yeah.
Let's talk about management considerations. What has y'all's experience been, I guess, with somebody trying to do it themselves or using, I'm sure you guys all have management companies that you recommend or like to work with, but what should people think about between doing it themselves or using a professional company? Anybody can jump in.
Yeah, so here our the ownership is about 30% locals. So, and most of our locals don't own multiple properties. There are some who do, but unless you're local, you do not, I never ever recommend self-management because you need someone here 24/7 in case something goes wrong. We have very unpredictable weather. Anything can happen. So I always recommend a property management company.
In your market, what's the normal kind of range of percentage that someone would pay?
About 25%.
Okay.
It's between 20 and 30 depending, but
Mhm.
I tell people to expect about 25%.
Okay.
So ours is similar. We have new ordinances and they have to have somebody 24/7 that could be called and get there. So they're trying to really crack down on that. So
Mhm.
even if they're self-managed, they have to have somebody that's caretaker that's willing to take that call and get over there. So most people do use a management company, and depending on the service, I mean, they could do one where they the homeowner is going to market it themselves and maybe get it at 9%, but really full service is going to be like Jennifer, at least probably 20 to up to 30 if you have someone that's really concierge.
Mhm.
Mm.
Same here in the mountains. You're looking at anywhere from 20 to 30%. It just depends. I always say though, you need someone local. What I experience is the ones that don't rent well, that are using management companies that are in California or just they're not local,
Mhm.
they'll never do well. I always say pick someone local, and the ones that usually complain to me, that's the first thing I say. You need to change your management company, basically to you know what they're doing and how to market your and take care of your mountain home. So
Mhm.
that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, the marketing part of that, I think people don't realize how important that is because here, we have just these hyper local communities on 30A, and you really want somebody that specializes in Rosemary Beach. If you
Yeah.
have a home in Rosemary Beach you want to rent, You don't want to have one that's in Destin or Panama City Beach. So, they understand the clientele, the rental company does that, is focusing on Rosemary. They understand the clientele and where they're coming from and how to market to them. And so we're very specific, as I know all these ladies are, about who we recommend, because that is definitely very, it can be a really good or a really bad thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Sheri, you mentioned kind of some changes with local regulations, and I know that every community has different guidelines and rules around short-term rentals. So in your market, are there specific restrictions, or do certain neighborhoods not allow them? And are there extra fees that you have to pay to, I guess, the city or county for your short-term rental?
Well, we just had a big vote and everyone was up in arms because they were afraid they were going to, um, the communities that did allow short-term rentals, they were afraid they were going to take some of those away. They did
Mm,
not do that. I'm sure will start restricting more coming on, yet they're not, if it's already a rental, they're letting it stay a rental, which I thought was good. Yet, they've raised the management fee or the business license fee. I mean, only went up like to $250. It's not outrageous. Yet they did
mm,
make some more restrictions about only 6 cars in the parking, in the driveway, and they have to
mm,
have more fire. They don't have to have sprinkler systems. I forget how many bedrooms, but it wasn't as drastic as we thought it was going to be, but it
mm,
did at least put some control on it. And I do know there's other communities that are really cutting it out, but we've still got it, so it's good.
mm. Okay. How about with you, Jennifer?
Yeah, we're seeing significant impact on our buyers and sellers right now because specifically in the Breckenridge market, because we have
Mm,
been strictly zoned as to where short-term rentals can and cannot be done. So
yeah.
the areas that allow short-term rentals, like with no limitation at all, is not large.
Mm,
So, that's impacting prices. Obviously, those prices are remaining quite high because they're the most competitive. Everyone wants to short-term rent. But now for our sellers in those areas where you can't get a license,
mm,
you have some opportunity for deals, but most people want to buy and use it as a short-term rental as well. So
yeah.
it's definitely impacting our market, and that's just Breckenridge. Each town um, has its own regulations,
Yeah.
and it's not a blanket statement of, okay, well, here you can get, on a list and be waitlisted. There's some places there are no wait lists. You're just out of luck.
Are there annual license fees, or does that depend on the
There are
town?
license fees, there are specific sales taxes, sales tax, short-term rental, like license tax.
Uh,
So yeah, and that once again depends on where you are, what those
right.
numbers look like.
Yeah. Tracy,
Yeah.
what do you see in North Georgia?
Well, they've started by county, put an ordinance on the county and whether or not, and you have to have somebody now where that wasn't, I think it's more safety, have somebody that's responsible 24 hours that
Mhm.
knows how many people are in that house, in case of a fire, and it's, knowing who's in there at any given time. So
Mm.
they've passed that. And each county's different. Union County has now a percentage of short-term rental that's allowed in the county. They haven't done that in Fannin or in Gilmer, but still they are starting that now. And there's communities here that do not allow short-term rental. And but they tend to like that, but they're trying to sell, a lot of people, again, wanting to buy in the mountains want that option to do a short-term rental. So it kind of limits their buying pool there. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
We really don't have a lot of rental restrictions here.
Mhm.
The county did impose, I believe it was last year, or I'm sorry, 2024, about $150 registration fee per rental property. We do have some neighborhoods that do not allow rentals. It has to be a 6-month lease or longer.
Mm.
And then you have then you have Alice Beach, and Alice Beach has just recently put a restriction on rentals. There will not be, I think it will not be over 125 rental properties in Alice Beach at one time
Oh, wow. That's not
out
that
of
many.
775 properties that will be built.
Hmm.
So yeah, they've limited it. It's going to be about 16 to 17% of the completed homes.
So would you see that as an opportunity for somebody to buy and be one of the 150? I mean, I know the
Wow.
price point's high there.
I would think it's probably.
Yeah, 125 is what it will be allowed to be. But yes, actually, because what they're going to do is whenever the HOA turnover happens there,
Mhm.
they are, whenever a property sells that's a rental property, the that will be grandfathered in to the next owner.
Right.
If you
Oh,
want to put a new property on the rental program, you'll have to get on a wait list if they are
Mhm.
in fact at that 125 number.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I feel like that would make those properties more valuable, right? Like in the
mhm,
I do,
long term.
mhm.
I do believe that. Yeah, Alice is currently, they have less than 80 properties on the rental program right now. I think they're
Hmm.
like 73 or 4 currently.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. It should be interesting.
Hmm. I'll stay with you, Tasha. What do you think the biggest risks are right now in your market that someone needs to think about?
I think that one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about that should be talking about is our beach access. It's
Mhm.
definitely a conversation between renters. I feel like a lot of real estate agents don't talk to their buyers about that. We have a lot of private beaches, and if you're in an HOA and you have a private beach, that's great. And really, that's amazing. Because you could have a property, say, in Seagrove Beach, right next to Seaside, and
Mhm.
you have a beach access point that's about 12 feet wide. And you go out to this 12 feet, and you could have a private beach on the right side and on the left side. Meaning that, they own, so there are two types of home ownership for Gulf front owners. They either own to the dune, which means that all the sand in front is going to be is public, or they're going to own to the mean and high tide water line, which means that they can claim all of that sand as private land.
Mhm.
And they can say, put a sign up and say, we, do not want you to walk on our beach. It's private
Mhm.
beach. So you have to walk around that. You'll eventually find some sand where you can put your chairs down and enjoy the day. But you have to really be careful whenever you're looking here. And I'm very particular about when I'm working with a buyer that's not looking in an HOA. We're looking really hard at, our maps, what the counties provide us with to find out if we have a private beach situation or if we have a public beach situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would certainly impact the value of your STR if you had no beach.
absolutely. And you don't want to get bad reviews for saying, oh, the sheriff was called on me walking on the beach, somebody's private beach.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
so
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Wow. How about you, Sheri? What challenge? Do you guys have beach problems like that?
Well, no,
Yeah,
our
big
beaches
beaches.
are all public, so that's great. So you cannot own the water, and you can't
Mhm.
own the access to the water.
Can
So
I just
you,
say that that's the way
yeah.
it should be?
Right.
Right.
So come on
Public
here.
water.
We'll let you on. I mean, there's restrictions of if dogs can go on, things like that, but people
Mhm.
in the dog rules. I'd say the thing we need to pay attention to when we're selling to our clients, especially the villa complexes, is it's almost better to do the ones that have already had their assessments assessments and have already redone the parking lot or redone the exterior, than the ones that are probably due for those assessments because they're going to eventually come. And there are we don't have a lot of high rises, but our high rise is like 4 stories. That's like maybe I think we have one that's 5 or something. But so we don't have to worry about that a lot. But even if it does have an elevator and it is even 4 stories, we have to be careful with that because some of them do have some delayed maintenance and they're being stricter of those because of what happened in Florida. So we just have to be careful about the assessments. And if there's windows and doors have already been replaced, that's a great complex to buy in.
Yeah. What do we need to think about it in Colorado, Jennifer?
So for my owners here or the people who want to be owners here, one of the risks is what's going on right now. We really don't have great snow. So I've been here this is my 21st winter, which I can't believe. And
Wow.
I can tell you, I have never seen snow or lack of snow like this. So we're going to see it impact the rental world, right? So people are not going to be choosing to come here to ski. Now we haven't seen it completely tank in terms of, rental numbers because people love the mountain towns, right? Like they're still coming up here to do all the other mountain things. Right now there's a mountain coaster at the top of Breckenridge, which is normally closed at the end of the summer. It's open now. So because there's just not a lot of snow. And so people are able to do some more activities that they wouldn't normally be able to do with more snow. So we're still having people come. But for those that are coming specifically for the snow, our owners are going to see a decrease in bookings. So I would say that's probably our biggest challenge. Now, I haven't, like I said, this is very unique. This is the first time I've seen it like this. Obviously, the variability is usually there, but this is probably the most extreme.
Yeah. So might be some good deals come spring when people are like, "Ooh."
It could be. It could be.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
What about with you, Tracy? What are some potential pitfalls?
The pitfalls in what? I'm sorry.
Just like challenges that, risks, any risks that somebody might have with buying in North Georgia.
I would just say really what I've been seeing, just what bears, that'd be I don't know. I think right now I see people just trying to we've got a lot of inflation right now, overpriced homes in the market. The inventory's high. I know it's so it's just trying to find that balance with people that's expecting a lot. They might have overpaid in the COVID, and so I'm seeing a lot of people wanting to sell, and obviously I hate that they're a little bit upside down, and so we're just trying. That's a challenge. That's really challenging right now in the mountains. Seeing that.
Yeah. And when you're working with investors, as far as focus on income versus long-term appreciation, or how does that normally kind of balance in your mind as far as what they should expect when they buy a short-term rental? Are they buying for appreciation? Are they buying for income, or kind of both?
Kind of both, and usually just kind of talking through them just trying to see what their goals are, and just to see where they want to be long term.
Yeah. Tasha, what about you?
Yeah, I think both. I mean, every buyer's different, right? So you have some buyers that you work with that, they just want to pay the rent. They want the rents to pay their taxes and their HOA fees. And they're happy because they're using the property on the 4th of July, which is the highest,
Yeah.
weekly rate we have. So it really depends, but definitely long-term appreciation. I always push that. And we always have a lot of conversation around that because I do feel like some of our neighborhoods appreciate better than others. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Sheri?
I'd say, there are many people who really want to get rental income. And I think I had during COVID, it seemed like because the rentals were up, I had people
Mhm.
that were buying thinking that's the way it was going to be. And now they're, sorely disappointed. So I really emphasize to my buyers, if that's all you're there for, this isn't probably where you want to be. I mean, if you just want to do an investment, maybe go to a college town or something where it works for you is when you want to be here and your family's been here all those years and you've got the memories. And that's what we're here for because we've had so many people that just love to come and they have all the memories. So, and we have a lot of people who don't even care about the long-term gain because they're just going to keep it for their family. So that's the perfect person for us that doesn't necessarily have to make those numbers work. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Jennifer.
Yeah, I concur with what Sheri's saying here, which is,
Mhm.
I do focus on appreciation because my buyers over the years have made a good money when they've chosen to sell in the
Mhm.
last few years. But yeah, this isn't the place to look at how much your income is going to be from the short-term rentals. It's not that.
Yeah.
I agree that I would rather them go buy in Denver or,
Mhm.
other markets where they're going to make that kind of return,
Yeah.
month over month, year over
Right.
year.
Yeah.
This is definitely an it's an investment in the long term.
Mhm. Right. So
investment
Jennifer,
It's
in
a
the
it's a
what?
buy and
lifestyle
hold.
too, in the
Yeah,
Yeah,
lifestyle.
lifestyle
right. Obviously,
behind.
lifestyle. Sure.
Right.
Yes, agreed.
So Jennifer, if you had to give somebody who was just a first time, they're considering it, what advice would you offer to a first time person?
Well, for my first time investors, you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would really have to dig deep with them on their motivation and what their goals are for the property.
Sure.
And then also figure out, are they putting more cash down?
Mm-hmm.
We do see cash buyers even as first time buyers. And, if they can look at their costs that way, sometimes they're going to make more money, right? How often do they plan on using it? Because if they plan on using it, they're not going to make as much. So my advice is, if this is something that you want to make for memories, but you really need the income, maybe rent it out entirely for the first few years
Mm-hmm.
and then you can start taking advantage. But it's kind of getting their plan together for what they need and what they can afford.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the long game for sure.
Yeah.
Tracy, what advice do you give to your first time folks looking in North Georgia?
Well, I think sometimes people come to me thinking, "Oh, I've got to have this really massive, large cabin." Um, and I see some of the smaller ones do just as well as the
Really?
bigger ones do.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, "Really?" And I'll give you this as an example. Have a seasoned investor, and she came to me and I pointed out a little 1-1 cabin, and she's like, "Really, Tracy?" I said, "I'm telling you, this is great." And it's out of 6 rentals that she has in North Georgia, it's number one. And she's like, it just never occurred to me. And she says, I wish I could trade them all because the upkeep, she goes, the cleaners are just in and out. Everything's one level. Even the hot tub is all on one level. And it's small, but it's mighty. And so I encourage people, don't overlook those little ones. I mean, because they are really, they can be a golden nugget, really, a cash cow. And she says it's her best one. So I usually guide people to something that, and we don't have a lot of 1-1s or 1s too, but if they're done nicely, they can really generate a lot of income.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tasha, what about you? What advice would you give first time investor?
Um, I would say one of the most important things that I see a lot of people kind of overlook or not really pay a lot of attention to are rental projections versus rental history.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there have been a lot of people in our market over the past several years that have really been given a lot of bad advice
Mm-hmm.
regarding these rental projections. So, I always encourage if we're looking at a specific condo building or a specific neighborhood, I always try to find rental histories for them so that they can actually understand what that looks like because we have a lot of these rental companies that are just trying to get business. And so they're saying, oh, you can rent, for 32, weeks a year. And really it's, 22 to 24 is what I say you can definitely count on. So just little things like that, understanding your numbers and really, diving deep in that and making sure that you have clarity.
Yeah. Yeah. Sheri, what advice would you give?
So some of the things that people don't realize is we don't have a ton, especially the ones right on the beach that will allow dogs. The ones that do allow pets, they can really do well because especially in those winter months when you have a snowbird that comes and they want to bring their dog, they want to and so you can get more money for your rentals. Now you do have to be careful because you have to they can ruin your place. You have to be more careful about cats because they could spray or something, but you do that is an opportunity if you want to get one that's animal friendly and bring your pets. So that's kind of something I have them look at and make sure they know that ones that can, because you don't want them to buy and have a realtor that didn't realize, oh, I can't bring my pet, and then that's not good.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna invite, if anybody has questions, you can put it in the chat. And we've had a couple already in here specifically for you, Sheri. So one is, how is the market on Defusky Island? And the other one is, how's the market on Pawleys Island?
Okay, so Pawleys Island is a whole nother MLS and a whole nother place. So I don't do Pawleys Island, but I have realtors that do. Defusky Island is kind of the same. You cannot get to it except by boat and ferry. And right now there's not a lot there to support. Some people think it's amazing, yet I've taken people over on the ferry and they're like, oh, this is very remote. So the I don't know. I'm not the person that's the biggest fan of Fusky. I love to go there. We have a boat. It's so much fun to take the boat, go for a drink, be out there. To invest in it, I'd say I'm skeptical.
But there are short-term rentals on the
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
There are. You have to take everything, every groceries, every single thing via ferry and then a golf cart.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
So what would you say is like a home run property? Like if you had a house like this that you wanted to enjoy for your family and short-term rental it, like what would be like a home run property that everybody would just love to rent and you would love to own? Like what's that sweet spot?
Are you asking us all? I guess I would start. Probably, if you can find, I would do a home versus a villa because you can control your expenses because you can have a villa and then have an assessment you don't know about. So really, I would say get a home, and they're hard to find and they're expensive. Yet, if you can find a home and a 4-bedroom home that's closer to the beach, you don't have to be right on the beach because you can take bikes to the beach and all of that. And if you're not just like 2 or 3 rows to the beach, you may be driving and parking anyway in the hot summer. So I don't say you have to be right on the beach, but just be close enough that you can ride your bike.
Wow. Okay. Anybody else? Jennifer? Oh,
I was going to say, it really depends on what they're looking for. For our on mountain properties, families might actually like the condos, might be leaning towards a larger condo, but just because of the amenities, that you don't have to worry about maintaining, whether it's a pool, whether it's a gym, whether it's the hot tubs, easy access to the resorts. I know, easy and convenient makes a big difference in the winter months, right? Because everything is a schlep otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a question for you, Tracy.
Tasha, I wanted to ask if Tasha had something to add to that.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we can't manage the chat. This is what happens.
Oh, good. So I would say a smaller home on 30A, close to the beach, within walking distance, or a bike ride, short bike ride to restaurants and shops. Our smaller homes are a little harder to find these days. We have a lot of the 8 and 10 bedroom homes that have definitely happened on 30A. The small ones, though, going back to kind of what Tracy said, they can really be really great rental properties and a really great investment. So those are definitely something to keep your eye out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tracy, do you have any?
Yeah, I would just say
Smaller.
my home run property would be close to town, great view. To get to the great view, it would be all paved to the very top. No, I have a lot of people that want to get the view, but are kind of scared of the road conditions to get there. So I think that would be, and sometimes they'll be like, I want to be within 20 minutes, even though it looks like it's closer just because of the twists and turns going over the ridge. It could take you anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes to get there. So just being close to town, being able to get in and out of a property with a great view would be a home run.
Yeah. So we had a question for you, Tracy. They said they've been looking in Blue Ridge and Blairsville. Of the two, which area would be the most profitable? And a 1 or 2 bedroom, and you already answered that. Would closer to town be best or out and away?
I would probably say Blue Ridge would be more profitable because I just get a lot of people that want to be in Blue Ridge. So I feel like Blairsville's a little bit more, it's more residential. And I just feel like being in Blue Ridge would be more profitable.
Mm-hmm. And then between a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom?
Really, it's just how you do it, really. I think it would either one, really. Honestly, you couldn't go wrong with either one.
Yeah. Yep. I think we had another question.
If I go into my phone, I'll never come out.
And then Tracy, is Clayton/Lake Burton comparable to Blue Ridge?
Yes, it is. I love Lake Burton. I think they're very similar. I feel like that Lake Burton's a little bit more expensive than Blue Ridge, but here in the mountains we call that the Billionaire Lake. And the Millionaire Lake on Lake Blue Ridge, but they're very similar towns. I love Clayton. I love Burton. So they're similar.
Yeah. Sheri, someone had a question about the license fee for Bluffton.
Oh, okay. So, you know what? I'm not even sure of that license fee. It's probably similar. And Bluffton doesn't have, it has short-term rental areas, yet because it's not close to the beach, it's not as prevalent. But the downtown Bluffton's super cute, and people that are buying little places there, it is an up and coming place. So I would think that that fee is really similar to the like $200. And they are good about, they have their certain areas where you can rent and others that you can't. So that would be a good place to invest if you don't want to be on the island.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
Any other questions?
All right. So is there anything that we haven't talked about or we haven't asked you that people should think about before taking this step?
You've been very thorough with your questions. I like it.
No kidding.
Yeah. Hey.
Everyone, you have to visit all the places now.
I know. That'd be fun.
Well,
That'll be part 2. We'll come.
This is the talk that's out there in the market, is investing really in yourself, in your own family, in your own memories, having experiences. We talk about investing a lot, but most people think investing as investing in their own home, a second home, and, making money if you can, helping pay for some of the costs while you're doing it. So it is a topic that people are talking about, probably should be talking about more. So this was awesome, to pull together. I've learned a bunch.
We're not, I'm not a CPA, but there are certainly tax advantages to, especially now with the accelerated depreciation and all the good stuff they brought back to consider. So that would be something to talk to your CPA about. But
yeah.
Awesome. And I guess too, if you're going to buy, you just don't want to be in a position where you have to sell right away, because any real estate you hold over time, I think what Gary Keller say, that 6% average over all the years. So that's where you just don't want to get yourself caught where you have to sell it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess that's all real estate, right?
Yeah. Have a little bit of reserves. Yeah. Well, thank you all for your time. We appreciate it. This was great.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Mhm.